Hello and welcome back to F1 22 Driver Career Mode. My name is Chris and feeling good at the moment in this career mode. We just coming off the back of a win in Miami. We have a very good car in the Mercedes. We've obviously come from the Renault, which was at one point the best car on the grid. We won a championship in it, but we took a couple races to get up to speed, you could say. Bahrain wasn't great. The next couple of races were good. We got on the podium. Imola was a mess, let's face it. We made the wrong call on the tyres at the end of that one, but it is what it is. We got a race win and a fastest lap last time out, so let's see what we can do in Canada, shall we? Here's the performance index, and currently the second best car on the grid, very, very close to Ferrari. At one point we were just a little bit ahead of them, but they've brought a big update to Canada, so we'll see how that plays out. McLaren and Red Bull not too far behind as well, and of course Renault down in 5th, and then there's a huge gap to the rest of the field, so not too much to worry about there. But let's see what we can do around Canada. I usually go pretty well. Here we go then, first flying lap around Canada, and the car was feeling good, I have to say. It was feeling pretty hooked up. Purple Sector 1 is always a good sign. You would probably expect that on a pretty regular basis in this car, but I have to say we haven't really been performing up there. But let's see what we can do. Can we get through Q1 with just a single lap? That would be ideal. And up into P3 we go. I think we can comfortably say that we'll go through to Q2, no problem. But we did decide just to stay out on the same set of tyres and see if we could improve. So here's the result of that, onto our second flying lap and into turn 1, already making up time. So that bodes well for Q2 and Q3. We might be on for a pole here if we can put a lap together. 2/10 gained already. Remember, this is a used set of tyres, so 3/10 gained already, 4/10. We're making up time everywhere. We're just finding that confidence. We go purple again in Sector 1. And what can we do for the rest of the lap, I wonder? Sainz and Norris are the only two cars in front of us. And as we come up to the line, you can see we've done a purple Sector 2 as well. 7/10 improvement on a used set of tyres. That's insane. And up to the line we come. Jump ourselves up into P1 comfortably. 5/10 then the gap to Ocon, who's normally not the quicker of the two McLarens. But remember, the weird tyre allocation means that most of the time the AI just go out, do their fresh run, and then they, yeah, that's it. Tsunoda, Stroll, Latifi, Schwartzman and Zhou are the ones we're losing from Q1, and straight into Q2 we go. Here's looking very overcast if you look at the weather. Hopefully no rain coming, but we do go ahead and cement ourselves at the top. Currently not been beaten towards the end of the session. Obviously the AI will go out again. But we'll see how that goes. As I just said, they tend to go out on a used set of tyres with the strange tyre allocation we've had since the latest update. And sometimes they improve, sometimes they don't. But yeah, we're not really improving. So be surprised if we finish this lap. Yeah, we're backing out of it and into the pit lane. So we'll see what the rest of them do. But I would say we're comfortably through. Yeah, we are. 10th ahead of Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc P3 in the Red Bull. Pierre Gasly also putting in a decent lap in P4, losing Mick Schumacher, Alex Albon, Kevin Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, and Max Verstappen. That's a shocker. I know he's in a Williams, but he's been outperforming that car at pretty much every race this season, so that's a surprise. Anyway, into the shootout we go. Only 10 of us left, 5 minutes left in the session, and what can we do? Only green so far, so it's not looking great at the moment for a pole position, but let's see if we can claw some of that back in Sector 3 as we head down the very, very long back straight and into the final chicane. Oh, a bit of a wobble, and we got wing damage, and that is our qualifying done. P9. After the performance we had in the first two sessions, that's really disappointing. Pierre Gasly, though, in P5, I reckon he could have done better. But look how small the gap is across the entire top 9. Only 3/10 separate the top 9 cars. Oscar Piastri trailing just behind in the Renault in P10. But Lando Norris, surprise, surprise, takes pole position.
It's time once again then to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles per hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially the infamous Wall of Champions, and watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and that final chicane. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ocon, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly and Perez, Leclerc, Russell, Marshall and Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, Albon, Kevin Magnussen and Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Stroll, Nicholas Latifi and Robert Schwartzman, Joe and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
Alrighty, starting on the hard tyres, everybody around us on mediums. This is going to be interesting, but you can see that we're so overcast and the weather forecast is predicting rain near the end of the race. So we're going to see if we can go all the way to that rainy period and capitalise when everybody else would have pitted already. So we'll see what we can do as we wait patiently for the 5 red lights to illuminate. And the lights are out and we're racing in Canada. Norris getting a good start, but also Carlos Sainz alongside in the Ferrari was looking pretty good. We've got a terrible start and we're getting absolutely eaten into turn 1, but we just about managed to fend off the Renault of Piastri and the Haas of Mick Schumacher and maintain that P10. P10? Is that where we ended up? Yes, it is, because we screwed up qualifying, right? So, yeah, just about holding on to our position on these hard tyres. Of course, very difficult to get the heat into these at the beginning of a race. But we're going to go down the inside on George Russell in the Renault. Over the curve a little bit messy, but we do make the move, and we're up into P8. I don't know what happened there. Did we overtake Piastri at the same time? I completely missed that. Anyway, here's what's happening elsewhere. Norris leads from Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo. We've not seen much of him at the top of the grid as of late, but he's performing. George Russell, though, is out for revenge. He wants his place back, and he's going to go around the outside by the looks of it, maybe switch us back into the hairpin. Didn't quite work out on that occasion, but he'll probably get a very good exit. And you know what these guys are like in a straight line, so we're going to deploy some ERS, see if we can just hold him off for now. And we do so. On to lap 3 we go, and we've caught up to Perez, and Russell is still with us. He's holding on. That's a very, very quick car, that Renault. We've lost Piastri a little bit, but I think that's just because he's in his rookie season. He's not quite up to speed yet. Remember, this is only, what, the 5th race in the season, so he's got a long way to go. But here comes the rain very early, and we're having a look down the inside of Sergio Perez. Didn't quite work out. Mark thinks we're on the right tyre, and we will be until that DRS gets disabled. As George Russell goes around the outside of us into turn 1. That's never what we want to see. And I think he might make the move stick. Who's going to get the better run into turn 2? Let's find out. Or turn 4? Is this turn 4? I always mess up the turn names. But George Russell getting a bit of a tank slapper on and essentially brake checking us on the apex. He takes the position. And on to lap 4. The rain is still falling, but it's not quite into time yet. We're going to have another go at George Russell as we head down into turn 1. Can we get it done? Down the inside we go. Just about getting it done, giving him a car's width and no more as we head out into P8, and maybe, just maybe, we can catch Perez again before we have to switch to the Inters. That means, of course, that the hard tyre was a bad choice, but The weather was predicted at the end of the race, which is why I went for hards, and it turned up at the beginning of the race. So what can you do? All you can do is go on the information you have, but it's getting very slippery out there now, so I would imagine everybody's going to start boxing for inters very, very, very soon. On lap 6 now, I reckon we had rain for 2 laps now. It's going to get more and more tricky as the race goes on. Norris and Sainz have absolutely run away so far. Ricciardo's dropping back a little bit, and towards the end of lap 6, look at that. DRS disabled. We decided to back off, almost smash into the back of Perez there, and we're into the pit lane for inters very early. Hopefully this pays off. Usually when the DRS gets disabled, that's the crossover point. So whacking a set of inters on.
That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
And off we go. Where are we going to come out? Probably near the back, if not the back.
See these tyres through to the end.
So very near the back. Tsunoda and Latifi obviously had some sort of incident in the opening laps to be 30 seconds behind the rest of the field, but here we go. Nobody else has pit for inters yet, so we'll see what they do at the end of this lap. It might open up some positions for us. We're trying to get past Zhou Guanyu here, who's on softs. Probably the best dry tyre to be on in these conditions, in fairness, but still not going to be as quick as the inters. And we can't quite get past them into the hairpin. We're going to have Stroll up next after that, so we really need to get a move on and just cut through this traffic. Not really seeing anybody into the pit lane just yet, so everybody else is thinking it's not quite time for the inters, but we're going to go around the outside of Guan Yu Zhou into the chicane, and off we go into P17. That doesn't sound like much, but nobody else has pitted yet, remember, so we could be in a very, very good position when everybody else decides that it's time for the wet tyres. Very quickly we've caught up to Stroll and Schwartzman in the Williams.
We're starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. Yep,
but we also need to get through the traffic, so we're going to have to weigh up those two conflicting ideas, and I'm saying we go for it down the inside on Lance Stroll. That was a decent move. We take those, similar to the one we made in lap 1, up into P16, and after Schwartzman we go, and towards the end of lap 9, coming into the hairpin, give me a little love tap, little bump, and Pierre's into the pits. That means everybody's looking to pit for inters now. You can see the McLaren in the pit lane. Have they double stacked? It looks like they've double stacked. There's 2 McLarens in the pit lane. How's that going to work out for them? We're trying to get past Schwartzman here. He's probably wanting to go into the pit lane, so we're very ballsy being on the outside. He was looking to go into the pit lane, but he's dived down the inside, and now we've made contact on the exit, and that's going to be big damage for us. Here's what happened. So he was thinking about going into the pit lane, then at the last minute just accelerated, and now we've made contact as we come back onto the track. Bit of wing damage for him, and here's my POV. I go off track to avoid him. Apparently we've got an illegal overtake, even though he forced me off the track, and now we've got major floor damage. Safety car's been deployed, and that's going to spice things up a little bit, isn't it? My goodness. So we're back into the pit lane. We're going to get new tyres. We're going to get a new wing. Not what we would have wanted to happen, but what can you do?
Okay, stand by. We see a problem at our end, and we're looking into it.
And that's not something we want to hear. We've got some sort of issue. Nothing just yet, so we'll see. Trying to catch the safety car queue at the moment, and there is the issue.
Find a safe space to retire or return to the pits.
We've lost an engine. That
I repeat,
is
find somewhere
gutting.
to retire the car immediately. It's too dangerous to stay on track.
Oh, it never gets easier to deal with an engine failure when you feel like you're probably on for a good result. I know we were having a bit of a messy race, but with the safety car, we could have fought back and we could have come through the field and at least got ourselves some good points, if nothing else. So that sucks. No points for us today. We're going to pull over at the side of the track somewhere. Probably into, outside of turn 1. And that's the end of our race. That's unfortunate. No points. I would imagine Lando is probably going to win the race, as he has been. He's absolutely dominating so far.
Another magnificent Canadian Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on the circuit and have come out on top.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, there it is then. An engine failure for us. And another win for Lando Norris. He's looking very, very good at the top of this championship at the moment. He just seems to be on incredible form. Charles Leclerc on the podium for Red Bull as well. And I think it's Carlos Sainz next to him. I mean, what do I say? We probably need to think about doing some durability upgrades at some point. We always sort of avoid those in favour of the performance upgrades, but it never gets easier when you feel like you're driving well, and that happens. So there's the result. Lando Norris in P1, Charles Leclerc in P2, Carlos Sainz. Pierre Gasly, though, did get a P6, so we'll take that. Good points for the team, at least, but for our Drivers' Championship, it's not looking great, is it? P3 currently in the Drivers' Championship, down from second. George Russell inherits second place by just a point, so it's still all to play for. We're a long way off the end of the season. 66 points, though, is a big deficit, so yeah. We'll see what we can do. British Grand Prix next, another one where we generally go well. So we'll see what happens. The control electronics is what failed, but if you enjoyed this video, leave us a like, drop us a little comment below, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.